Well,
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are 5 minutes away from starting our live press conference. Please make your way to your seats. 5 minutes away.
We're trying to guess,
silence your cell phones. Keep them on. Just make sure they're not making any noise. 5 minutes.
You hit the ground in
5
Vegas,
minutes.
You just got to get on with it.
Fighters to the stage, please.
It's
Fighters to the stage.
It's Oscar Valdez against Shakur Stevenson. It's a unification. Two undefeated professionals. Someone's O has got to go. And by the end of this, Adam Smith, we're going to have a unified champion.
Yeah, fabulous. The super featherweight ruler, the king. Will it be Oscar Valdez, the unbeaten Mexican? Will it be Shakur Stevenson from New Jersey, the southpaw who's had so much talent? We've seen him through the amateurs. People are calling him the next superstar. Well, this is the moment. This is the opportunity for him to ruler in this former world featherweight champions. Yeah, no losses, plenty of knockouts between them, different styles, they don't like each other very much, and we're back in Vegas. And Vegas Fight Week, especially with the NFL draft as well, like no other.
Yeah, if this was in American football terms and the draft terms, if you had a pick of fights in boxing at the top tier that you wanted to make, this would be very near the top. Yes, you know, there's still the big boys out there, but this would be right near the very top of the picks. Let's set it up. 3 years, I think Top Rank are saying. 3 years in the making. Both fighters dispute that. I think they're saying it was a little bit more than that. Stevenson saying, for example, you've always been on my radar. Even when I was on your undercard, He obviously boxed on Oscar Valdez's undercard.
Yes, he did.
Very interesting that he's saying that Oscar Valdez has been backed into a fight that he never wanted to take, that the fans and that Eddie Reynoso, his trainer, has said you have to take it. What do you think about that? He's a very proud guy, Oscar Valdez. He doesn't necessarily strike me as someone that would bow to pressure. He's taken this fight because he thinks he can win it.
I think he's taking this fight because he wants to prove he's number one. That's the key, and he'll take on all comers. And Shakur Stevenson is maybe the king in waiting, but I think Oscar Valdez believes with his resume, he's fought many times in Vegas, great wins. He's a very accomplished fighter. He's an older fighter. He's a more mature man, and I think that he won't be fazed one little bit. Shakur Stevenson and the team are trying to wind him up, trying to say that, you know, we're going to force you to quit, we're going to put the pressure on you. And listen, Oscar Valdez will be quietly confident that he could just get the job done. Eddie Reynoso, great trainer, of course, alongside him. And I think that they will leave no stone unturned in preparation, mentally and physically. I think Valdez is a proven force. The big question, I think, here, Andy, is how good is Shakur Stevenson? And because what we think, he has blown hot and cold at times, but at his very best, he's looked like he's really elite level. He's looked like he's a pound-for-pound fighter. You know, his hero, Andre Ward, he studied Floyd Mayweather, the way that Mayweather holds himself around big fight weeks. And I'll be really interested to spend a bit of time over the next 48 hours around Shakur Stevenson and see sort of whether it's getting to him, if he can keep his poise and his cool, because he's headlining in Vegas for the first time, and a lot of pressure on him to perform. Only 17 fights, and Valdez having almost twice as many. So, yeah, it's a really fascinating one, a fascinating encounter. America and Mexico too. There's been so many great nights and fights like that at the MGM and around Vegas over the years, and this is another. It's right up there. You said it's one of the ones that you just really want to see. Ring Magazine as well. It's the two best.
The reason I look like I'm nervous about everything and keep looking behind is because we are in the hands of our hosts here, Top Rank and ESPN. Whilst we wait for the undercard fighters to get set, just one quick word, it's not the only super fight this weekend.
No,
MSG, history in the making, two females topping the bill there, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. It's a very interesting fight as well.
Absolutely fabulous fights on coast to coast, and a shame we can't be in two places. Katie Taylor, one of the pioneers, of course, the icon who we developed on Sky for many years, and we're all great friends with her, and we wish Katie all the very best in a huge fight with Amanda Serrano in MSG. I mean, it's great for boxing, isn't it? You've got a fantastic blockbuster in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca in New York, and this in many ways the MGM, the Mecca in Vegas. I mean, the history between the two places here, we talk about Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather coming, Ricky Hatton bringing everyone over, Manny Pacquiao, all the great
Vegas still hasn't recovered.
Vegas, I don't think ever will recover from the Hatton fans, but MSG, you've got the great nights as well, the history that's in there, and Lewis Holyfield, I remember when we were there for that draw, and just so many great nights. AJ, of course, getting beaten by Andy Ruiz most recently, but the Garden just has a tapestry, doesn't it? So many memories, and I think Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano will light up New York, and I think Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson will light up Vegas. It's brilliant for men's, for female, both. Just for boxing, I think it's a fantastic weekend, and it shows where the sport is at.
While we wait for our undercard fighters to make their way to the stage, still one empty seat there. Adam, I'm just going to bring you out of vision. We'll make our way right of stage, and you can see on stage there that we have the undercard fighters. If only you could have seen there's a blooper reel just been made there. Adam has just fallen through the row of seats, but he's okay, I can confirm. We can see the undercard fighters there, two guys that we spent a little bit of time with this week, Nico, Ali Walsh and Keyshawn Davis, I should say, correction. Nico, Ali Walsh, we were allowed to go to the Ali Walsh family home with his mother and father, Rashida and Bob, and just really humble, lovely people to be in the company of.
It was an absolute treat, wasn't it, to go to the residence in Vegas of the Ali Walsh household. You're right, Bob, great guy, and Rashida, and it was fantastic. And there's the other Bob, just a couple of seats away from Nico, Ali Walsh. Bob, of course, who promoted his grandfather. And Nico, what a great guy. You told me, actually, I hadn't met him, and you were first in on that. You told me what a lovely fella he was. Absolutely terrific. He's down to earth. He's been really well brought up. He's educated. He's waiting to pass his degree at the university here in Las Vegas. And, he's unbeaten, and he's a talent. And, of course, he's got the genes, and it's a difficult one in many ways, that pressure on the shoulders, but he seems very cool and calm, and we wish him well.
He actually graduates next week. He said that in amongst fight week activities, he had been to pick up and have his fitting of his cap and gown. I mean, what a way to waltz into graduation next week, hopefully winning on his Vegas debut here at the MGM, a Vegas resident, of course.
And he also didn't mention the Ali, which is the middle part of his name, when he signed up for the course. He wanted to be Nico Walsh. He didn't want any preferential treatment or any teachers, lecturers who may have absolutely loved Muhammad Ali, as we all did, or maybe weren't so keen on Ali. He wanted just to be himself, and I think that shows a very mature guy. He seems really rounded, and he knows that this is the early stages. He was joking about not even staying in the fight hotel. The top fighters on the bill stay at the MGM. You mentioned a little earlier on Sky Sports News, Shakur Stevenson's in the Sky Loft. He has the fantastic palatial suite, but Nico's over in the Excalibur with the undercard fighters, and he said to me, "What's the Excalibur like?" I said, "Listen, don't expect too much, but I tell you what, he'll enjoy this. The whole experience of being around big fights. It's his Vegas debut. Of course, he lives here, so it's a special one for him, and we watch with interest because he has got that incredible tagline, and I'm sure Bob Arum will be relishing getting him out time and again." He did say also, Andy, he wants to fight in the UK, and we've adopted Michaela Mayer recently in the last few months, and we'd like to see Nico come over. He'll be welcome anytime. He was a pleasure to spend time with yesterday.
Okay, let's make our way slowly over to our hosts here at Top Rank. We're just about to join our host on stage, who is Mark Shannock. I should just finish the Nico Ali Walsh story. When he boxed an amateur, he was Nico Walsh. He was actually trying to avoid the Ali tagline. Bob Arum said to him, "If you think
good
you're
afternoon,
avoid
ladies
it,
and
no
gentlemen.
Chance." Let's get over to Mark.
And welcome inside the MGM Grand here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. This is boxing. This is Top Rank, presented by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Mr. Bob Arum, directly to my right. Sponsored by Boost Mobile, money is power. And I'm excited to say this, Top Gun Maverick, starring Tom Cruise, only in theaters May 27th. It's not every day you get to mention Tom Cruise. Bob, where is he? Couldn't he be here with us today? No.
Tom Cruise, but I'm really friendly with Nicole Kidman.
We have been waiting for this one for a long time. The WBC, the WBO Ring Magazine Junior Lightweight Championship of the World. Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson. We will be bringing up both of those champions momentarily. But it all goes down Saturday, April 30th. MGM Grand Garden Arena here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Feels great to be back after a trip over the pond to London. The undercards begin at 3:30 Pacific on ESPN+, and then our 3 featured fights on the network ESPN and ESPN Deportes at 7 p.m. Pacific. A huge middleweight showdown, Alejandro Ibarra versus Nico Ali Walsh, and a lightweight showdown, Esteban Sanchez versus Keyshawn Davis. Bob, this is a great card. We're in Vegas. We are back. A huge fight. How are you feeling?
Well, I really feel terrific. And again, this shows how boxing should be produced. You'll see in the main event 2 fighters who've had all of their professional fights with Top Rank now facing off against each other. And on my right, we have 2, in quote, prospects, one of whom has had extensive amateur background and is considered by many to be the best amateur coming out of the United States in many years, in Keyshawn Davis, and the other, a young man who had very little amateur experience, but now has undertaken the task of making himself a great fighter in the professional ranks, and with the idea of making his late grandfather, the first fighter I've ever promoted, Muhammad Ali, proud, looking down from above, Nico Ali Walsh. And that's really great boxing stories. And we'll see that unfold on Saturday night.
Nico, I want to start with you down on the end. It's your hometown. Here we are, Las Vegas, MGM Grand Garden Arena. How you feeling?
Honestly, I feel amazing. I think we all know at this point that the main event is probably going to be one of the fights of the year. Just extremely talented fighters, so just being a part of it is a huge honor, and I'm very glad to be fighting here at my hometown.
Listen, you had a big knockout in Tulsa in January, a close fight in December. What changed between those fights, and what can we expect Saturday night?
Yeah, well, everyone has tough fights at some point in their career. I'm glad I was able to get that experience early on, and I was able to come back stronger, and you saw that in my fight in January. So now I've had the time to spar some of the best guys in the world, and I'm back. So this time around, I'll be able to showcase more than I did in January.
Alejandro Ibarra, probably your toughest opponent to date, chose not to be here today. Maybe sending a message, trying to mess with your head a little bit. You've been able to watch some tape on him. Is he the toughest opponent to date for you?
That's definitely not sending a message, not showing up. I mean, that's, if anything, that's not good on him. But, it is what it is. I don't know if he'll be my toughest opponent. You'll find out when you're in the ring. And like Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched. So we'll see.
Nico, I'm excited to see you Saturday night in the ring. We'll see you tomorrow at weigh-ins. Right beside you, Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn, your last fight, Madison Square Garden, and now we're here at MGM Grand Garden. What does fighting on stages like this mean to you? How exciting is this?
Honestly, I just would like to keep the performances going. Ever since, people put their attention on me, I just felt like I've been rising to the occasion every single time. And every time I get in the ring, I put on spectacular performances, and just expect another spectacular performance on Saturday night, as well as the main event. My brother Shakur Stevenson Me and him been sharing this dream for years now, and I'm just excited to be fighting alongside him.
Do you feel any pressure? You mentioned Shakur, and I know you guys are tight. Do you feel any pressure that he's fighting right after you to put on an impressive performance on such a big stage?
Honestly, no. I'm just go out there and do what I do. And I feel like when I do what I do, then it's going to be a spectacular performance, as well as Shakur. So,
I want to welcome in your opponent here, Esteban Sanchez, 18-1, 8 knockouts. Gardy sitting beside you to do some translating. This is your first fight in the United States. First fight on a stage like this. How do you keep the pressure under wraps?
Sí, es la primera vez que voy a pelear aquí en Estados Unidos y estoy muy emocionado. ¿Por qué? Porque es también la primera ocasión que voy a pelear en la MGM Grand de Las Vegas. Para mí siempre ha sido un sueño, tanto como para cualquier boxeador que va empezando. Quiero pelear en la MGM Grand de Las Vegas, ¿no? Entonces estoy muy emocionado y sí, gracias a Dios no me ha afectado mucho el escenario, entonces estamos muy contentos.
The big stage doesn't impress me. This is my first time fighting in Las Vegas, my first time fighting in the United States and in MGM. But it has been my dream, like any other fighter, to fight at the MGM.
What do you bring to the table that can stop Keyshawn?
Realmente vamos a hacer una estrategia de trabajo que llevamos tiempo trabajando con mi coach Joe Vargas y pues el sábado vamos a hacer nuestro trabajo al igual que Keyshawn va a hacer su trabajo, entonces que sea una gran pelea para todo el público.
We have been working on a good strategy with my trainer Joe Vargas for a long time, and I'm going to do the work in the ring. I'm sure Keyshawn is going to do his work the same way, so the best man's going to win.
You have been in camp since the start of the year with a new trainer. What differences will we see from the first 19 fights that we've been able to watch?
Ha estado en entrenamiento con un nuevo entrenador. ¿Qué diferencia vamos a ver de las primeras 19 peleas que
Pues más que nada, mucha estrategia, mucha técnica, mucho cerebro. En México hay demasiado corazón, también lo vamos a traer, entonces todo eso lo vamos a combinar para dar una gran pelea.
It will be a lot of technique, a lot of strategy, and we're going to combine all that with my heart, and we're going to come up victorious on Saturday.
Thank you very much. We're really looking forward to this fight Saturday night. Keyshawn, one last question for you. Earlier in the week, this gentleman right here, probably the greatest boxing promoter of all time, was on a conference call and compared you to Sugar Ray. What's the first thing that pops into your head when you hear those words coming from a man like Mr. Bob Arum?
I should come back out and keep fighting with that fro, just like Sugar Ray. But honestly, it really means a lot. When he said that, I never looked at myself like Sugar Ray, but when he said that, I started watching more Sugar Ray and, how he carried himself and how he fight and stuff like that. And I'm just really trying to learn from the best. And like you said, Bob Arum is one of the greatest, as well as Sugar Ray. So I just went back to the drawing boards again, like I always do, and, just trying to learn from the best.
Well, listen, fireworks Saturday night expected from both Nico, Keyshawn, and Esteban. Thank you guys for spending some time with us. Before we bring up our main event, we're going to let these gentlemen have a face-off for the first time this week before they see each other again tomorrow at weigh-ins. Esteban, we're going to ask you to come down here. Keyshawn as well. Bob, hang tight, and we'll bring up the main event.
So that's our undercard on Saturday night here in Vegas, early hours of Sunday morning for you guys back home. We haven't had a chance to talk about Keyshawn Davis, but
I'm so excited about him, Andy.
Bob Arum has given him the biggest build-up and sell you could ever wish for. He's the next Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, Bob has said that in the past about a few fighters, but this one probably rings true. What a phenomenal talent Keyshawn Davis is.
Yeah, I mean, there's few promoters like Bob Arum for hyperbole, and I mean, ultimately he's excited, and we all are, about Keyshawn Davis. He was a fantastic amateur, wonderful, sparkling, and you heard there about his close relationship with Shakur. He's a very dedicated young man, and he's got so much ability, and it is early days, but I cannot wait to see him live.
The signal that he's making with his hand there, that's D3. So that's DB3, I should say. Davis Brothers 3. The three brothers alongside their mum, Wanda. She supports them. She does everything for them. She's the mainstay. But what a pack. What a talented group. I interviewed them all yesterday. Kelvin the brother, very much so. Kelvin the brother had a brutal knockout recently, and they do have some competitive spirit between them. He now says that Keyshawn will want to match that because he can't have his brother having one up on him, and they just try and one up each other, and he's really, really interesting to talk to. But in the ring, he really is a savage. He obviously went to the Olympics. He was one of those groups of fighters that had already turned pro and had a few pro fights when he got the chance to box as an Olympian. It was on a little bit of a technicality. The pandemic had meant that he was able to be selected. And this is interesting. After all of that, telling us that Nico Ali Walsh's opponent was not going to show, here he is.
Speaks well, doesn't he, Nico, up there, and how humble he was to be on the big card. Long way to go in his career, but as Bob said, didn't have that sort of amateur background that Keyshawn and others, Shakur, have had. So they've got to take their time a little bit with Nico, but he's certainly an exciting addition to the scene, and let's hope that he can make his own path. Obviously, no one can ever live up to the greatest, but he can maybe, make his own way and his own journey, and hopefully win titles along the route if he's good enough.
So that was Nico Ali Walsh and Alejandro Ibarra. Adam, come join me back in our makeshift studio, we might as well call it that. Let's move things forward to the main event now. As we said slightly earlier, no Eddie Reynoso today. He stayed in San Diego to finalise camp with Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, those two have been together their whole career. Oscar Valdez, when he went on board with Eddie, he knew this, for this fight particularly, he knew that he would just have to have a couple of days separation. But they've got a big team here, Team Valdez. We spent some time with them yesterday. I always feel that that's a sign of confidence. If you have a big team, but you could argue it's a sign of weakness that you need a lot of people around you. But he's got a close circle, certainly of his dad and his cousin Bubba, who have been here this week. And what have your thoughts been of Oscar Valdez this week?
Yeah, I like Oscar Valdez. I think he's not only a great fighter, but he's a great guy. He keeps himself to himself a lot. He's quite a serious individual. He's very, very focused. We know when he fought Scott Quigg what a warrior he can be in the ring, but also just to be around him here. And you're right, there are a big entourage, but an entourage that is carefully chosen as they're just appearing at the back of the hall now. Oscar's coming out with his group, and they're a tight-knit bunch. And with Eddie Reynoso to add that sparkle, add that magic on top, he must feel like a real world beater. Not just the world champion that he is, but he must believe he can still become that superstar and take that away from Shakur Stevenson on Saturday night. Yeah,
that's Frank Espinosa, his manager. And this is interesting. The two are actually going to clash here. Look, that's not staged, managed. The two have walked straight into each other's path. I think in an ideal scenario, they actually wanted Shakur to go the other way. Let's just step out of the way so we can see our guys here. That's Shakur Stevenson underneath his picture on the poster. And Nico Ali Walsh has exited the stage. And Oscar Valdez has replaced him.
Andy, there's something about a super fight. Both unbeaten, never tasted defeat, both world champions. You go back to the old days, the Mexican warriors that have been at the MGM and the Mandalay Bay and all around Vegas, like Marco Antonio Barrera. I saw him at the Tyson Fury fight last Saturday night. Eric Morales, of course, Juan Manuel Marquez. Many of those Mexican warriors in the early days of Sky Sports, and they put on thunderous affairs. And of course, the Americans that have come through, the ones that Shakur looks up to, like Andre Ward and Floyd Mayweather, who've, galvanized this building. They've been brilliant at the MGM and given us so many fantastic memories. And I wonder if Shakur headlining for the first time, this is the start of a real prized journey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get this press conference started. As I mentioned earlier, the WBC WBO Ring Magazine Junior Lightweight Championship of the World on the line. Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson. Before we get to the gentlemen sitting on stage, we have a very special guest. Raiders star linebacker Denzel Perryman. Get up here, sir. We have a little task at hand. Because both of these gentlemen are champions, we are going to do a coin toss to determine who walks to the ring first, who gets introduced first. Denzel, I'm going to hand you this silver dollar. This is how it's going to go down. Oscar heads, Shakur tails. The winner of the toss will walk second and be introduced first. Does that make sense, guys? The winner of the toss will walk to the ring second, but will be introduced first. It is NFL Draft Week here in Vegas, along with this incredible... You got questions? Speaking to the mic so everybody can hear you.
Oh, I walk to the ring second if I
It depends who wins the toss. The winner of the toss will walk second, but be introduced first. Heads, tails. Heads and tails have already been established. Denzel, flip that coin, brother. Toss it up. You're going to toss it up. Hopefully we can catch it. Catch it. Flip it on your wrist. Right there. What do we got? We got tails. So you won the toss. So you will be walking second, but I will introduce you first. Brother, thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Who would have thought?
Raiders linebacker Denzel Perryman. Thank you, Denzel. Enjoy draft week.
Is that a first win for Team City?
All right, let's just get into this. We've been waiting for this fight a long time. Oscar, thanks for joining us. Shakur, thanks for joining us. This is your 10th world title fight. It is the first one in Vegas, first one with a crowd. How does that make you feel?
I'm very excited for this. Ever since I was a little kid, I dreamed of these types of opportunities. To be fighting for unified world championships, to be here in Vegas. I'm just very excited right now to be in this mega fight, and I can't wait. I'm anxious to step in the ring April 30th.
Listen, Shakur's been saying multiple times that you didn't want this fight. You've been ducking it. Obviously, you disagree. Why is this fight right now?
Because of perfect timing. It's a perfect timing. Shakur Stevenson is a two-time world champion right now. Myself, I'm a two-time world champion. It is a perfect time right now. Let's prove who is the best 130 pounds. Let's get it on April 30th. Let's just show it. I think this is the correct time to do it.
Shakur, you've been saying that a lot. He's been ducking you. He's been ducking you. He's been ducking you. Well, here we are. Is this trash talk now just to get in his head?
Nah, I speak the truth every time I talk. So I feel like he didn't want to fight me at 126, and now we here at 130. And he was trying to fight Navarrete before fighting me, but we here now. We can't keep talking about that. The fight here is I fight Saturday, and I'm ready to fight.
You've been talking a long time now that you're pound-for-pound elite. Does a victory Saturday night convince the boxing world that you've been preaching the truth all this time?
No, I never said I'm on the pound-for-pound list yet. I said that after this fight, once I get past Oscar Valdez, I'll be on the pound-for-pound list.
With that, you've been around a ton of big fights. This is your big fight now. Is this your moment to shine?
Most definitely. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Years and years of training since I was an amateur to prepare for this moment, and I feel like I'm ready.
Oscar, he made his professional debut on your undercard. That's a long time ago. Feels like forever ago, but it wasn't that long ago. Is there anything that you remember from that night, or were you just focused on your big show? But it was ironic that he made his professional debut on your undercard.
Well, just like this fight, at that time I was very focused on my fight that I had in front of me. I knew about Shakur Stevenson. I saw him in the Olympics. He's a great fighter from back then, and he's turned to a great champion now. So I don't remember it at all that day because I was very focused on my fight, just the same way I am focused for this fight. Each and every fight, I take them very seriously. I just focus on one thing, just beating my opponent.
You guys have had some incredible camps. We've been privy to witness a lot of it. You have Canelo in your camp. You've had Bud in your camp. What was it like having Canelo in your camp, getting you ready for Saturday night?
It was great. It was great training besides Canelo Alvarez, on the side of him. There's always you can learn different things from fighters with great experience like these type. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day because at the end of the day, the ones who are going to be inside the ring is going to be me and Shakur. So it doesn't matter if Canelo trained me or teaches me different things. At the end of the day is who has the bigger heart inside the ring, April 30th.
Shakur, what about you, man? Having Bud in your camp?
When Bud was in my camp, Bud came and we sparred each other. But I feel like it's a difference with his camp because he had Canelo with him every step of the way. And Canelo was right there next to him, telling him how to hook, jab, and they was with each other every step of the way. So when I beat him, I'm going to feel good beating him, Canelo, Eddie Reynoso, the whole team.
I asked him just a few minutes ago about when you made your pro debut. How exciting was that night for you when you made your pro debut? And did you ever envision this happening?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You got to realize I was under his undercard, so I was focused on my fight, but I seen him fight in the main event, and I definitely was thinking about me and him fighting later on. I knew we was at the same weight, and it was always in my head that we was going to fight.
And this is for both of you. You know, your record in boxing, your opponents that you have both faced, very impressive. Jamel Herring, Nakatia, Conceição, Burchelt. Talk about how those fights have gotten you to this moment. We'll start with you, Oscar.
Well, those fights have built us up, built myself up to have the confidence and the experience that I have right now to be the fighter that I am. So, yes, it was tough at first, but now, we're in this great position. All those great fights that I've had has turned me into a fighter that I am right now with a lot of experience and just, continue building a career, continue building my legacy. We all want to be the best. We all want to be the top pound-for-pound list. But to be in that list, you got to beat fighters like in this case. Go through fighters like Shakur Stevenson. So that's definitely the fight that we have to win to be on our big step to become one of the top pound-for-pound.
Shakur, talk about your previous opponents.
I feel like every fight is different. With them fights, they helped me to get to this moment, but I feel like Styles is different. He's not the same as a Jamel Herring. He's not the same as a Nakatia. You may never know. It might be easier than a Nakatia. It might be harder than a Nakatia. Like, you never know what type of fighter he is. So at the end of the day, once we get in the ring, we're going to settle it once we get in the ring. But I'm prepared for whatever.
Listen, Bob Arum was sitting with me earlier as we sat with the undercard. And Bob was still on stage, and he wanted to get off because he didn't want to be here for this. He loves you guys that much. You are both top-ranked fighters. You made your pro debuts with Top Rank. You've been with Top Rank ever since. You just fought Herring. Another top rank. You yawning on me over there? You go. What does that mean to you? To have such a great leader of this company, have such passion and respect for both of you as fighters.
First of all, I personally thank Bob for helping me in my career. First of all, signing me, having the trust and having faith in me to become the fighter that I am right now, and making this possible, making this fight with Shakur Stevenson and making this main event card here in Las Vegas. It just means the world to me because this is what I've always dreamed for ever since I was a little kid.
I appreciate Bob, but I feel like he should have set up here. I feel like it's a big fight. It's business at the end of the day. The best fighting the best, so he should have sat right here and sat with us. You feel me? That's what I feel like.
You feel. That's good. That's great. Listen, Wally Moses, Eddie Reynoso, two incredible trainers in the game. Talk about your camp and the mindset that you guys set forth from day one when this fight was inked.
It was a great camp. I'm in the best shape of my life. My grandfather got me here. Everybody a part of my team, Jack, K, Dirt, everybody got me to this point where I'm ready to fight Oscar Valdez. However this fight go, if it go 12 rounds in early, I'm prepared for whatever.
Oscar?
Yeah, we did a great training camp. I'm very excited for this. I'm physically, mentally prepared to go all 12 rounds. And like I said, man, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I'm ready, focused, weight is on. I just can't wait for April 30 to step in the ring and show the world. Give the fans what they want. Good fight.
Oscar, you talk about just, the passion you have for Mexican boxing and the fighters you look up to, Chavez, Marquez, Barrera, Morales. How much does carrying on that tradition mean to you, those incredible fighters?
Well, I grew up watching these fighters. I grew up, watching fighters like Marco Antonio Barrera versus Eric Morales. And they inspired me. They inspired me to be the fighter that I am right now. And I want to continue growing to the same way, inspire the new generation the same way they inspired me. So, to become somebody like Eric Morales or Marco Antonio Barrera, Juan Manuel Marquez, you got to go through fighters like Shakur Stevenson with good names, with good recognition, when they have the belts on the line, undefeated records. it's just a great opportunity for me to try to become something close to what my idols did.
Shakur, I hear there's going to be a Puerto Rican flag on your trunks in the ring. Talk about that for a minute and what that means to you.
My father is Puerto Rican, even though he's like not here with us no more. But I got part Puerto Rican in me, so I gotta be myself. And this fight was mainly about being myself. I put my nickname on my trunks too, so everybody could see what my family been calling me for years and all that too. So I just want to be authentic at the end of the day, and I want to keep being myself.
We're hearing a lot about the difference in styles that we're going to see, obviously, on Saturday night. And you've said it now 2 or 3 times just sitting here that we got to go through Shakur. Are we going to see that aggressive Oscar that we're accustomed to and bring the fight to Shakur Saturday night?
Well, with a fighter with Shakur, you never know. We got, we can bang if we have to bang. We can box if we have to box. It all depends what Shakur brings to the table.
I think that's BS.
Well, what do you think?
I think he's coming to bang. That's it. I think he's trying to trick me into thinking he's about to try to box me and be technical, but I'm not falling for that. So,
what are you ready for?
I'm ready for the Oscar Valdez who go in there throwing all them hooks and putting pressure.
You ready for that?
Yes.
That's it?
Yes.
Oscar, you ready?
Well, I'm ready. I've been training. I've been ready for quite some time, and I just can't wait. Just can't wait to step in the ring.
Listen, tomorrow we weigh in. The talking is now. You got anything left to say before we wrap up?
Nah, I just hope you're ready, Oscar.
You got anything left to say before we wrap up?
Well, I'm ready. Yeah.
This room is ready. The energy in this building right now, to everybody watching, is electric. And I know everybody in this room wants to get a couple words in with you. So we're going to ask you now, gentlemen, to leave those microphones on your chairs, and we're going to give you the first face-off of the week. We've been waiting for this one a long time, ladies and gentlemen. It is the WBC, the WBO Ring Magazine Junior Lightweight Championships of the World, Saturday, April 30th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson, 2 kings, 1 crown. It is the Unified Junior Lightweight Championship of the World, Saturday, April 30th, MGM Grand Garden Arena. As always, this is boxing, this is Top Rank. We will see you tomorrow for the weigh-ins.
Okay, thank you to everyone that's joined us in the UK. You heard it there, the talking, even though they are still talking, has almost stopped. We're going to get a word with both fighters, and you can see those interviews later. Be fascinating to see what they had to say to each other here. 2 kings, 1 crown. Oscar Valdez from Nogales, Mexico, against Shakur Stevenson, Newark, New Jersey. One of those guys is going to be leaving this arena with both belts on Saturday night.